विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यं निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यभिमः योगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। So we started the discussion on this Nyaya system of philosophy. It's a full-fledged system, and generally Vaisheshikas are also included. I mean, not included, it's independent philosophy, but they go together. They have some kind of a partnership. Because one of the component of a philosophy, which is epistemology, in that these Naiyayikas are expert. Vaisheshikas have not worked too much for epistemology. So they have borrowed epistemology from Naiyayikas. Whereas Naiyayikas, the another important factor, of course, of a philosophy, that is metaphysics, ontological status of different categories or reality, etc., of varieties of the things. In that field, Vaisheshikas have worked very well. So Naiyayikas have not dealt with or addressed that problem much. And therefore, well, definitely, Naiyayikas have borrowed the principles of metaphysics, etc., from Vaisheshikas. Vaisheshikas have borrowed principles of epistemology from Nayayika. So they have a partnership. So we generally say Nyaya Vaisheshika system. But even though, they are borrowing from each other certain things from in a philosophy, but it's not that the Vaisheshika follows Nyaya, in every aspect, or Nyaya people will basically follow Vaisheshikas in every aspect. And the Nyaya system, well, I have told you also, it's a pluralistic realism, and therefore, well, they admit more than one reality in the creation. So, Ishvara also is a creation, Ishvara also is there, real. Jivas are also there, and world also. All thing is real. Ishvara is as real as Jiva, Jiva is as real as Jagat, Jagat is as real as Ishvara. And therefore, it is more than one reality. Therefore, it's not non-dualistic approach. Here it is a pluralistic approach. And they also accept external world. That's very important, which I am going to now discuss in detail. Whether the external world is there or not. Itself is a question. So, but these people accept. So, external world is there, other than Ishvara. So, Ishvara which is a Nimitta Karanam of the creation. He is a creator. His will is there, of course, and his knowledge is involved, and his power also is involved. Everything is true. Definitely, but it is independent. So, creation is independent, creator is independent. So, two realities. So, Nimitta Karanam. They are not ready to accept Ishvara as Upadana Karanam of this creation. Looking at the creation, they say, no, Ishvara cannot be this creation. That is, he has created somewhere, sitting somewhere, it is a different thing. But he cannot be the creation. He is a creator only. Anyway, Vishishtadvaitin also, because the material cause, if you say it is not, then definitely it is already it's a dualistic approach. Naturally, creator and creation are different. Anyway, so in order to arrive at Advaita, well, one has to accept the creation is the creator. Or creation and creator are Ishvara alone. Maker and material both Ishvara alone. Then only you can prove the non-duality. Otherwise you cannot prove. So Vishishta Advaitin, well, in order to give a title to himself as non-dualist, Advaiti. So he says, well, Ishvara is a Upadana Karanam also of the Jagat, etc. But they are also saying for the sake of saying. If we really penetrate into that, then they say, no, Jiva cannot be Narayana. How can you say Jiva is Brahman? That's not possible. Because then there is nothing. The whole creation is Ishvara. When Brahman, then where is Jiva separate from the Brahman? So that they are not ready to accept again. That Jiva cannot be called, Jiva is non-separate from Brahman, that's a good thing. But Jiva and Brahman are Aikyam, basically. You say that the difference is in terms of ignorance only. No, that cannot be. Jiva cannot be called Narayana because Brahman is Narayana, which has a Ananta Guna, Kalyana Guna, all thousands and infinite good virtues. And Jiva, that cannot be equated with the Jiva. So this is a problem. On one way to say that we are non-dualist. At the same time, they say then if it is a non-dualist, then whatever is there is one thing alone. Then in that case, creator and creation cannot be different thing. Maker and material cannot be different thing. So one way say, yeah, maker and material one. And then we say, well, then Jiva is Brahman. Jiva is also part of the world. No, that we cannot accept. And you cannot say, oh, this Jagat is Brahman. How can you say this is Jad Jagat? And that cannot be equated with our Narayana, who is a infinite virtues. No. And therefore, so this is how it is. Okay, then Jagat is independent? No, Jagat is not independent. Jagat is not independent of Narayana. And Jiva also is not independent of Narayana. Both are non-separate. Okay, then everything is Brahman. No, that is not. So it is all problem. We will discuss. Vishishta Advaitin also will discuss, because that's the most powerful people actually. Most powerful people, but it's a dualist. It's just a dualist. If you accept more than one reality, in one or other way, in this way also, no, and then say no. So this no means, yeah, say boldly, everything is one. That's all. The differences are apparent. That's a non-duality. We don't say there is no difference at all. Differences are there, apparent. And therefore, the reality is one alone. Are you able to say? No. We won't say. The difference between Jiva and Brahman, the Narayana, cannot be just apparent difference. Well, we say it's apparent difference, right? Upadi. Upaditaha Vedaha. And Upadi is mithya, so differences are mithya. So, the differences on basis of Upadi, well, it cannot be real, because Upadi itself is mithya. And therefore, differences based on Upadi is automatically mithya, and therefore, well, ultimately, so-called Dvaitam differences are there. That is at the level of name and form, and it is just an apparent thing. Every name and form essentially is one thing alone. And that is Brahman, etc., etc. But so, that is the problem. Vishishta Advaitin have a problem. Anyway, now we'll go into that Pramana Vichara, and Pramana Vichara also I have told you things, how many varieties of the systems, Astika systems basically accept how many number of Pramanas, that also I have told you. And in that afterwards I entered into the Nyaya philosophy with Pramana Vichara. The first aspect we have to discuss is the Pramana Vichara, epistemology. Then we'll go to metaphysics, Prameya Vichara, etc. And then Prayojana, Moksha also. What is Moksha? The concept of Moksha is very, very different in all the systems. That's how they are different. How to gain Moksha also then definitely becomes different. Anyway, so right now we are discussing the most important topic of the philosophy, and the first topic in fact is a Pramana Vichara called epistemology. And in that Nayayika accept these four pramanas I told you: Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana and Shabda. Upamana means illustration. Anumana, inference. Pratyaksha, perception. and Shabda, verbal testimony, or let's say the words of scriptures. Even words of their own scriptures also, they take it as a pramana, naturally. Or words of Veda, you can say, because all these are Vedika systems, so they basically, primary source is a Veda. So they accept Veda as a pramana. Nastikas do not accept, these people accept. Anyway, and Nayayikas accept basically 16 padarthas in the creation, pluralistic. We say creation means one thing alone, that's why Jeev Jagat, everything is one, and that is Brahman, etc. They say no, world is basically divided into 16 basic categories. Each one is distinct from each other. So automatically 16 realities, more than one reality. And what are the 16 padarthas? Pramana, Prameya, Samshaya, Prayojanam, Drashtanta, Siddhanta, Avayava, Tarka, Nirnaya, Vada, Jalpa, Vitanda, Hetvabhasa, Chalam, Jati, Nigrasthan. These 16 padarthas I am going to explain you. In one line we will define it. Vaisheshikas accept 7 padarthas, I told you. Padartha means not objects. Padartha means the whole creation is divided into 60, this basic categories is called padartha. So means each one is distinct. So if you say the whole world is divided into 7 categories, means 7 realities. This Nayayikas say no, 16 padarthas are there. Sankhyas will go further. They say 24. Highest. That's how Sankhya. Counting and counting all the time. They will add. I think they say 25, I think. And so 25 padarthas are there. Highest number. We say one padartha. One category. You say Jiva, Jagat or Ishvara. Wherever you want to start, it is Brahman. That's all. That's a non-duality. So this Nayayikas say no. 16 padarthas are there. 16 basic categories are there. The world can be divided into 16 basic things. And he says Pramana, Prameya, etc. Now let's start that. So Pramana means of knowledge. How many? 4. That I have told you for Nayayikas. Nyaya, Vaishesh, Pratyaksha, Anumana, Pramana and Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana and Shabda. Now, how many prameyas are there? How many objects of knowledge are there? Well, they say 12. What are they? Atma, Indriya, Artha, Shariram, Buddhi, Manaha, Pravritti, Dosha, Pretyabhava, Phalam, Dukkham, Apavargam. 12. Samshaya, doubt. It's a prasiddha. We need not have to say anything for that. Prayojanam. What is prayojanam? Purpose. Well, in the world there is one category called prayojanam. Yeah, sukham or dukkha bhava. Okay? Sukham and dukkha bhava. Then drashtanta, illustration. That is easy to understand. Siddhanta. Once you debate, based on scriptures, once you debate, then whatever is the ascertained principle in the debate is called Siddhanta. Or else from our own Shastra. Nayayikas also have their own Shastra. Well, primary source is Veda, but they have, based on that, they have, arrived at a philosophy. For that, they have so many books. So, basically, so the principles which have been narrated or ascertained in that their own Shastra is called Siddhanta. And then Avayava. So, Avayava means limbs actually. So they say there are 5 Avayavas. Basically, Nayayikas, they are expert in the logic, right? And so, Panchavayam is there. And so what are the 5? So one is a Pratignya. I have told you, I think, this thing before also. Pratignya. Pratignya means like, Parvato Vanniman, Dhumavatvat, is a Pratignya. Pratigna means an opening statement where you will say what you want to prove. So Parvato Vanniman, mountain has a fire. Why? Well, it has a smoke. Dhumavatvat. So this statement is called Pratigna, opening statement, where you tell what you want to prove and the reason we will provide also to prove it. So Pratigna is the first avayava. Second is a hetu. Hetu I told you that Dhumavatvat. And then you have to give illustration. Yeah, in kitchen, etc. Yatha Mahanase, right? And so Yatha Mahanas means kitchen. Just as in kitchen, where there is a smoke, we observe the fire is there, and therefore same way here the mountain has a smoke, means fire is there. So you have to provide an illustration. That's the third avayava. So Pratigna, hetu means a cause. Naturally, we will give a reason. What is the reason for proving? And that is a hetu. Third is this illustration called drashtanta. Fourth is a upanayanam. Upanaya, not upanayanam. Upanaya means, or I gave you the name paramarsha. Means, well, here also the smoke and fire goes together in the kitchen. Same way there the smoke is there, then fire must be there. So that kind of a thinking, right? From the illustration you arrive at a certain vyapti and you apply that vyapti on that mountain. From the illustration, what is a vyapti? What is a common, what's the invariable concomitance between two things? Well, between smoke and fire. Yatra dhumaha tatra vannihi. Wherever there is a smoke, there is a fire. So all this is called, this is called paramarsha or upanaya. Well, that is the fourth component. And fifth one is a nigamanam, conclusion. Conclusion is what? Parvato Vanniman. Clear? Parvato Vanniman. Instead, Vedanti does not go this all five avayavas, We take three. Two we avoid. Yeah. What is that? Pratigna will be there. And then Hetu will be there. And Drashtanta. That's all. Pratigna, Hetu and Drashtanta. So our all examples, whatever, all our Swamis, they talk about these things. Like we always say like this. See, Parvato Vanniman, Dhumavatvat, Yatha Mahanase. Yes, that's all. So mountain has a fire because it is a smoke. Just like in a kitchen. That enough. Simple. So we say you people, Nayayikas, five avayas you are talking. No need. Three. Only three are important. Parvato Vanniman. That's what. And in that Parvata is a Paksha. And Vanniman is a Sadhya, etc. Pratigna Vakya has two things. Paksha and Sadhya. Paksha means where you want to prove something. And Sadhya means what you want to prove. Paksha means where you want to prove. Sadhya means what you want to prove. That's called Sadhya. And then Hetu. That Tvat is all Hetu. Entire Brahma Sutra is this. 555 sutras, out of that this Tvat. Because it's a Nyaya Grantha, right? Vedantis, but when everything has to be proven through reasoning, it's based on logic. Brahma Sutra is a logical text. Yeah. Today also we are going to prove that. How this external world is there, how will you prove it? Very difficult. Anyways, that comes in Pramana Vichara only. Anyway, so these Panchavayas, five avayas are there. Well, what is there? Okay, Tarka. Okay, Tarka is there. Okay. Means if Karanam is Asat, then Karyam also is Asat. That kind of logic, reasoning, etc. Okay. Then Nirnaya. Nirnaya means you arrive at this Nirnaya is different. The ascertained meaning in a debate or ascertained principle of their own Shastras is a Siddhanta. But here, in a debate, who really wins over? That's called Nirnaya. Yeah. So Nirnaya means basically, and you decide who has really won in the debate, who could establish the principles properly. And what is Vada? The dialogue between, this you know, I think. The dialogue between teacher and student is called Vada. Then what is Jalpa? Jalpa means in a debate, one always wants to establish one's principle. I am right. Whatever you say is wrong. I am right. Whatever you say is wrong. It's called Jalpa. The teacher-student dialogue is called Vada, where student asks a question and teacher replies, and student obviously accepts, and therefore that is Vada. Jalpa means basically, two people are discussing, that cannot be between Guru Shishya. Jalpa cannot be there. The two opponents are there. Everyone has a Siddhanta, and everyone wants to have one's own principle and tries to convince other with his own principle. That's called Jalpa. Vitanda means basically, I don't have my own Siddhanta. I don't have any principle, but you are wrong. What's your stand? Well, we will see that today. So, I don't have any principle, but you are wrong. That's all. That's called Vitanda. Sometimes it is like that. What's your position? Please clarify your position. No, I don't have any position, but you are wrong. What you say is wrong. That's all. It's called Vitanda. Anyway, and then Hetvabhasa. It's a very beautiful thing. This Hetvabhasa means you present a logic, you present a reasoning, but it appears as though a reason, but it is not. It's not. That's called Abhasa. So Hetvabhasa. So you're wrong. And Chalam. And so Chalam means what? One says, see, suppose you and me are debating, and I says, you say the Shabda is Nityam, is a debatable thing. You say Shabda is Nityam is debatable. Therefore, it cannot be accepted. Then what he says, Shabda is Anityam, that you say, he is telling me now. I tell to him, Shabda is Nitya, that you are saying is a debatable thing. I can't accept it as it is. So he says, Shabda is Anityam, which you are telling, O Swami, that also is a debatable thing, and therefore I cannot accept. That's called Chalam. So this is how it is. Anyway, world is Mithya. Let's say this. If I say world is Mithya, world is Mithya. The world is Satyam, which you are saying, is not valid. It's a debatable thing. Then the other one says, world is Mithya is a debatable thing. Therefore I cannot accept. Could you follow what I am saying? I tell to you world is Satyam, which you are saying, Vedanti tells to someone else. Vedanti tells to other person, you say the world is Satyam, is a debatable thing. I can't accept. So he says, world is Mithya, which you are telling, O Swami, is a debatable thing. I cannot accept. That's called Chalam. Anyway, then Jati, Uttaram, etc. is there. Okay, Jati Uttaram, because I am leaving it right now, because I myself have to understood what they want to convey, so I am leaving it. And then Nigraha Sthanam, that's another category. Nigraha Sthanam means, and there are several of course, but then two things are non-cognition and wrong cognition, etc. Anyway, these are the categories I have explained you in brief. Now, they said this Pramana and Prameya also are category, right? Now there is a big issue in this. Why? Because ultimately Pramana, how this Prameya is known through Pramana. That is very simple to understand. Any Prameya, any object of knowledge is known to you through what? Through means of knowledge. We say you have arrived at the 16 categories. In that, two categories are this, pramana and prameya. Now, prameya is all right. Prameya category we can accept because that is prameya category. I mean, if that such a category called prameya is there, well, it can be arrived at through pramana, means of knowledge. So that is okay because pramana provides an evidence for prameya. That's simple to understand. Mind is there. Well, pramana is there, etc., etc. Like that, they have told 12 prameyas. So means you can prove through pramana that prameya is there. How will you know pramana is there? Prameya is there, well, due to pramana. So pramana, well, definitely gives an evidence for prameya. Who will give evidence for pramana? Any means of knowledge is there. How will you know? Well, you are there. Well, because my eyes could see you. Fine. So you are prameya and my eyes can prove it. They are pramana. Pramana gives an evidence of you, that you are existing, you are there. How do you know eyes are there? Who has raised this question, you know? One Buddhist, very popular Buddhist, Madhyamika, Shunyavadi, Nagarjuna, who is very popular. He raised this question. I told you, they have fight all the time. Buddhists and Nayayikas keep fighting since beginningless time. So they say, how will you prove pramana? So then Nayayika says, well, pramana proves itself. Eyes prove itself. If eyes could prove itself, well, how eyes could prove itself? How eyes could prove itself? Nothing proves itself. Because ultimately, pramana cannot prove itself. Prameya, all the categories are there. Well, has to be proven with the pramana. Then who proves pramana? Eyes cannot prove itself. My eyes are there, proven by eyes. Just think. Eyes, my eyes are proven by eyes. Means my eyes are able to see the eyes. Right? Shankaracharya ji will enter now. That's the glory of this Advaita. So Nagarjuna's question to Nayayikas, how will you prove pramana is there? Means of now, you are saying this category, 16 categories, one of them is pramana. So you are able to ascertain 16 categories, means you are able to know the existence of 16 categories. Prameya, of course, I understand, but how will you know pramana? Then, well, in order to avoid that, well, he said pramana is proven by another pramana. If pramana is proven by another pramana, who will give the evidence for the another pramana? Who will give the evidence for another pramana? And if pramana cannot be proven, prameya cannot be proven. If pramana's existence is in question, the prameya's existence will be in question. Nayayikas could not answer this. Really. Because they are missing something which Advaitins can give answer. Very simple. Very simple. Anyway, but Nagarjuna asked this question to them and well, they could not answer. And if you say one pramana is proven by another pramana, then that pramana is proven by another pramana, and then that pramana is proven by another pramana. Pramana gives evidence for another pramana. Then, well, ultimately it will be anavastha, infinite regression. It will be infinite regression. So, well, to avoid that dosha, anavastha, we have done it in the first chapter. To avoid that anavastha, he says, pramana proves itself, means eyes prove itself. Eyes prove itself. Eyes cannot prove itself. No Veda has said, no Upanishad, nowhere it has been told that eyes prove itself. The ears prove itself. Ears, the evidence of ears are given by ears. The evidence of the eyes are given by the eyes. It's a foolish way of saying. And therefore, so Nayayika could not answer. Nagarjuna was very happy, and Shankaracharya asked to Nagarjuna, okay, be happy, fine. What's your position regarding this? Regarding this, regarding the, how will you prove existence of pramana? You tell us. Nayayika is gone now. Well, we have nothing to say. Don't you see a label on us? So, our thesis is this. We don't have any thesis regarding anything. That is our thesis. We don't have any thesis regarding anything. Not just pramana. Whole world is like this. They call it Chatushkoti. Chatushkoti means this. What? World is there, cannot be told. Including pramana. All you have to consider that way. I am giving you a general principle. World is there, we cannot say. World is not there, cannot be said. World is there and is not, cannot be said. World is both, cannot be said. Is and is not, cannot be said. Well, world is not both, that also cannot be said. Chatushkoti. And from there, we have a Mandukya Karika. I am giving you the number. There, Gaudapadacharya says the same thing in the 4th chapter. That's how some people said Gaudapadacharya was Buddhist. They don't realize that it is not Buddhist. At that time, this Vada was very popular, so he took it that way. Asti, Nasti, etc. And Asti, Nasti, and Nasti, Nasti, etc. Like that, there is a Karika. We don't go into that detail. But what I am saying is, this Shunyavadi does not have any thesis for anything. So he did not answer what is an evidence for pramana. Evidence of prameya is pramanam, that is all right. But evidence of pramana is by what? Nayayika could not answer, and these people also could not answer. Shankaracharya ji gave a genuine, very, very genuine answer, which nobody thought of in epistemology. We have an answer for this which nobody thought of. Whole epistemology is based on pramana. Right? Whole epistemology, the science of knowledge, is based on pramana. And very evidence of pramana nobody thought. It's amazing it is. Shankaracharya ji gave the answer. Shankaracharya ji gave the answer. All the logies, not epistemology, not just metaphysics, not just ethics, not sociology and psychology, all the logies, means all pramana shastra, are proven by one thing, and that is you, the consciousness. Simple answer it is. It's just a simple answer. But it should be based on Upanishad. It is based on Upanishad. It is based on Upanishad. Shrotrasya shrotram, manaso manaha, vachoha vacham, manaso manaha, that mind. Suppose somebody says, well, senses are proven by ultimately the consciousness. Our mind, all the pramanas, mind stands for inference and what not. All the pramanas are proven by the consciousness. In fact, pramanas are able to reveal prameya because pramanas are revealed by the consciousness. Oh, who reveals consciousness? Self-revealing, sir, okay? Ultimately, the self-revealing consciousness reveals everything. Your 16 categories, 25 categories, 8 categories, 4 categories, you keep on counting. Everything is revealed by one principle, and that is consciousness. Nobody thought of, including so-called logicians. Foolish. Without whole philosophy is based on pramana. Everyone is going to talk about the knowledge. Everyone is going to talk about moksha and everything. How knowledge takes place? Oh, through pramana. But then who gives the evidence of pramana? Who gives an evidence to pramana? Pramana cannot proven by pramana. Eyes can never. This simple, my answer is this. Who eyes are proven by eyes, do you think? If eyes are proven by eyes are able to see. Does your eyes see your eyes? Do your eyes see your eyes? क्या बात है? All the indriyas are atindriyas. Therefore, ultimately, the self-revealing consciousness, well, because of which pramana, well, gains a status of pramana. In fact, shrotrasya shrotram. Shrotra gains a status of a shrotratvam. The ear is called ear because of consciousness. That is you. Mind is called mind because of consciousness. So evidence of pramana is given by the self-evident Atma. Because you are going to ask me, evidence of pramana is given by the Atma. Who gives evidence of Atma? It is self-evident. It is self-evident. And so you can see now, we will be very happy and proud where the Advaitin stands in all this. Anyway, and so this question actually is discussed elaborately in Adhyasa Bhashyam in Brahma Sutra also. And so that is how Shankaracharya did not write commentary on the Sutra 1 immediately. This Vishishtadvaiti Ramanujacharya could not stand. He immediately started writing the commentary on the first Sutra. And he literally, vomited his this bitterness, literally poison in the first sutra itself. Go on writing against Bhashyakara. Acharya did a best thing, and it's a marvel in the world, this Adhyasa Bhashyam. Acharya proved in that Adhyasa Bhashyam that there is something called Adhyasa. There is something called error has happened. And well, in order to remove that Adhyasa and in order to remove the ignorance which is the cause of it, I am now beginning a commentary on Sutra 1. That's called Adhyasa Bhashyam. Sarve Vedantaha Prarabhyante. It's almost the last sentence in a Adhyasa Bhashyam. Sarve Vedantaha. So all the Upanishads basically have begun in order to take care of this Adhyasa. And Adhyasa means Ajnanam also. And therefore, this is how he started. So whole Adhyasa Bhashyam, in that this question of Pramana also comes there. Anyway, so something exists, something doesn't exist. Ultimately, the basis is on the Pramana operation. But the Pramana also have been, the evidence of Pramana has been given by this self-evident Atma. Anyway, when it has this much has come, then a big question is now, Vijnanavadi is asking us. Vijnanavadi says, Vedantin, you are saying the creation is mithya. The whole creation is mithya. We understand this your statement that the creation is mithya means you are also saying there is no creation. There is no external creation because you say it is mithya. And now we are entering into this particular sutra I told you, where Bhashyakara, of course Vyasacharya ji, but Bhashyakara also writes an elaborate commentary on this sutra and proves that there is an external creation. So that has been proven now, and I am going in detail, and we will see, even we will prove to all this Buddhist and whoever saying that there is no external creation. Creation is their external creation, it is real, that is Nayayika. That we are not worried about. We are answering this Buddhist, especially Vijnanavadis and Shunyavadis, naturally, Mahayanas, Yogachara and Madhyamikas. And we are telling that there is external creation. We have proven there is external creation. And then the external creation is there, and then it is a real? No, still it is mithya. But there is no external creation. Shunyavadis and Kshanika Vijnanis or Vijnanavadi says, we are answering in this particular sutra, that is at 2-28 in the Brahma Sutra. Very beautiful one, and I want to share with you once for all. and here the very beautiful analysis of pramana is there. Well, it is in pramana vichara itself. How we will prove through, you can understand as such very well through pratyaksha pramana we can prove it. And there is external creation, and he will argue a lot against that, and will prove that there is a external world other than this kshanika vijnanam, etc. There is the internal world, etc., just in the form of momentary consciousness, etc. Well, so the sutra is actually this particular adhikaranam, this is a fifth adhikaranam, second chapter, second pada, and fifth adhikaranam. In that there are 5 sutras. I am not going to take, it takes a lot of time, but a particular sutra I am taking where Bhashyakara has written a elaborate commentary to prove the existence of an external world. And so that sutra is na abhavaha upalabdehe. You can understand, na abhavaha. So jagataha abhavaha na. So there is no absence of the creation. Means there is the external world. There is no absence of external world. Upalabdehe. Why? Because available for pratyaksha pramana. Now this is not enough. In Brahma Sutra, this is not enough. If you say somebody because it is available for pratyaksha, therefore it is there. Well, that's not an argument. So it's a very elaborate argument. And here the third Buddhist school called Vijnanavada has been taken care of. Actually, in the fourth adhikaranam, to another Buddhist powerful schools have been taken care of, and that is, I have told you, Sautrantika and Vaibhashika. This is basically Yogachara. And Madhyamika also will be answered later. But then this Yogachara people, the Kshanika Vijnanavadis, well, have been analyzed properly here and also refuted. This Kshanika Vijnanavada, well, Acharya sometime in Mandukya Bhashyam he refers as a Vijnanavada also. Also, this Kshanika Vijnanis are called as a Vijnana Ekaskandavada also, because the Ekaskandavada means they believe in only one category, and that is internal cognition, a momentary consciousness. That's all. They say there is only one category. There is no category at all. Like Nayayika says 16 category, Vaisheshika 7, etc. These people say there is skandha means a category. Ekaskandavada. And one category. And what is that? Vijnanam. Momentary consciousness. Kshanik Vijnanam, etc. That is the only category. That's only reality. Nothing is real. There is no external world. There is no external world. Anyway, and also it is sometimes we call it as a Yogachara Matam. I told you. These Kshanika Vijnanis are also called as a Yogachara Matam, because they accept a certain kind of a yoga in which there are 17 steps. They are called bhumikas. And one has to follow that 17 steps in order to ultimately gain nirvana, moksha, etc. And so they call Yogachara Matam. Yoga plus Achara. Achara means definitely following that. Following that particular yoga in which there are 17 steps. Each step is called bhumika. And Vijnana Bhuvi, Mano Bhumi, etc. Savitarka, Avitarka, so many are there. We don't want to go. But that is how they are called Yogachara Matam also. Vijnanavadis are called, or Kshanik Vijnanis are also called Yogachara. And I have told you in beginning, Buddhas have main 2 sections. One is called Hinayana and Mahayana. This particular Yogachara and Shunyavadis, both Kshanika Vijnanis and Shunyavadis, Yogachara and Madhyamikas, both follow under Mahayana. Sautrantika and Vaibhashika fall under Hinayana. Now, see what they say first we should understand. Why do they say like that there is no external world? There is a reason really. They say it's our own experience. Like dream. You see the whole world in a dream, right? The whole world which you see in a dream, where is it? It's outside or inside? It is inside. It is just in the form of a vijnanam. It's all form of in varieties of the cognitions. whole dream world is nothing but varieties of cognitions, nothing else. There is no really external world. You see your child there, suppose. It's just in the form of a cognition. There is no external child. I mean dream child I am talking about. So the whole dream world is in the form of just internal cognition. It appears it is outside. Very beautiful. During dream, it appears that it is outside. No one has that during dream. No one says that, oh, the whole world is within me. It appears outside during dream, but it is within. And so there is really no external world so far as the dream is concerned. Generally what happens is part knowledge, part cognition, part consciousness is inside and part is outside, right? Part is outside and part cognition or part consciousness is inside. These people say there are no two things. Please understand this. There is no, there is a part object, external part object, and part consciousness, part cognition, etc. Two things are not there. There is only one thing. Like in a dream. Right now also in a waking also it is the same thing. Like in a dream there are no two things. There is no external world, but just in the cognitions are there. During dream your experience is there that it is outside and you are experiencing it, but it is not. Same way right now this external world is not there. Whole external world is just in the form of cognitions only. There is no external world. And what kind of a this consciousness, part consciousness, etc. This consciousness is of what type? Vijnanam is of what type? Or Jnanam is of what type? See, it is Kshanikam. It is Kshanikam. And therefore, every moment a new consciousness is born. Part consciousness, thought consciousness, mobile consciousness, that consciousness, that consciousness, that consciousness. And so every moment a new consciousness is arising. And therefore the Vijnanam, the consciousness, is in the form of a Kshanikam, is momentary. That's what they say. And so part consciousness, there is a part. But then there is external part. No, there is no external part. There is no external part. So the whole world is just in the form of Vijnanam, which is momentary. So, part consciousness, this consciousness, that consciousness, etc., etc. And so, whatever, the world is there, which is just a internal world in the form of this Kshanika Vijnanam, and there is no external world. And so every moment a new consciousness is arising. And so, I will explain what actually, where do they miss, we can understand also, but I will tell you. So when a part consciousness arises, part cognition arises, then at that time a error occurs. And what is that error? That you will feel that I have seen an external part. Like in a dream, when you see an object in a dream, at that time you feel that you are really seeing an external object during dream. Same way right now, you are seeing varieties of the, you have varieties of the cognitions and you are seeing varieties of the objects. And you, at that time, you commit a mistake that you are experiencing a corresponding object outside. But it is not. There is no external world. Right? So beautiful, right? And so this is a Kshanika Vijnana. Continuous. It's a flow. It's a flow. The flow of this continuous or flow of this momentary consciousness is Atma. Atma is Kshanika Vijnana. Atma is momentary consciousness. That is the reality. There is no external world at all. That alone is a reality. And so it appears as though that Yogachara people, what they say, looks like, like Advaita. But there is a big difference between them. I will tell that also. So this Yogacara people says that this consciousness is in the form of a momentary consciousness. It is just anityam. And other than that, there is nothing. Atma is not other than this momentary consciousness. Well, but the way what Vedanta says is, it is not a momentary consciousness. It's a one division free, limitless consciousness. It's a big difference. When you say momentary, means it is divided. How will you count otherwise momentary? Momentary means, well, a new one consciousness arises. I told you that. When it arises, that's called prathama kshanaha. Then for one moment it will be there, and third moment it will go away. Then a new consciousness arises. Means definitely there is a division. Division is already there. So then momentary also, that is anityam. And division also is there. Khanda also is there. We say it is not anityam. It is nityam. And it is division free. Yesterday also I told you nirvikalpakam. So nirvikalpa means, well, akhandam, which is division free basically. So that's a big difference. We also say consciousness is Atma. They also say consciousness is Atma. They say consciousness is momentary. Every moment new consciousness arises. And a flow of this continuous, a flow of this momentary consciousness is the Atma. That's a reality, etc. That's the only category. Whereas we say the Nityam, eternal. Consciousness is eternal and totally free from any division. It is limitless, and that is the reality. And therefore, not understanding this, sometimes Vedantins are labeled as a Bauddhas, but it is not true. Because they also say consciousness is Atma. We also say consciousness is Atma. But what kind of a consciousness they are saying, we'll be discussing, don't worry. But so, that this is a big difference between Vijnanavadi and Vedantin. I am giving you a lot of differences are there. So now where do they commit a mistake? If Atma is consciousness, we also say Atma is consciousness. Where is the problem? Because what happens is basically in the mind, varieties of the thoughts are arising. And these thoughts which are arising, they are definitely endowed with consciousness. We know very well, definitely, illumined by the consciousness, the Chidabhasa is there. So every particular thought is conscious. Every particular thought, sentient, conscious. And then they consider that conscious thought itself as a consciousness. They don't think that there is a Chidabhasa, etc. They consider that is the reality. And so they say, well, every moment a new thought arises, will be conscious, of course, immediately. In fact, when it is arising itself, it is conscious. There is nothing like there is a distance. There is, thought is arising somewhere in the mind and the Atma is focusing somewhere. It is nothing like that. From Atma alone, everything is arising. And in fact, from Atma alone, everything is arising. And as it is arising, it is conscious, naturally. And therefore, they feel that's a reality. And therefore, that is how the conscious thought itself, the thought which is pervaded by the consciousness, or thought which is endowed with the reflected consciousness, either way you say, well, is and which appears conscious, which is sentient, is called Vijnanam. They call it as Vijnanam. They call it as a consciousness. So, but that is momentary, because the thought is momentary. And so they say consciousness also is a momentary. And so this is how they are Kshanika Vijnanis or Yogacharas. And this flow is there whole day, continuous. Well, so they say there is no external world corresponding to the thought, etc. There is no external object. That alone is the only reality. And they give an example of a dream. In dream also there are varieties of the cognitions, and they are also saying momentary consciousness is there, and during dream you feel that there is an external object, but there is no corresponding external object. Whatever the reality is, there is one reality only. There are no two realities, and that is just a cognition. The whole dream world is in the form of cognition. Nothing, there is no corresponding external object corresponding to the particular thought. No, no. So like in dream, in waking also, there is no external world. What reality is just in the form of this momentary consciousness. What consciousness? That's several. Anyway, so this is the difference. Now we'll have to answer them. So before I'm give you answer in detail, I will give you the difference between Yogacara and Vedantin. The first difference is Yogacara people says the whole external world is a projection of the mind. See, sometimes we also say like this. That is how we are in problem actually. The whole external world is in form of a projection of mind. That is Yogacara actually says. And therefore, due to that mind, well, there is a external world, existence of external world. Since it is a projection of the mind, nothing other than that, and therefore the whole external world exists due to mind. Advaitin says there is an external world which can be perceived by the mind. Can be inferred, can be perceived through the senses, of course, perception. Without senses, inference. You infer a fire on the mountain, right? Part of the world. So certain objects are available for inference, certain objects are available for perception, which are nearby, available through senses, perception. Anyway, but we say the external world is there, which can be, its existence can be proven by the mind and the senses, etc. They say external world is projected by the mind. There is no external world other than it, which is in the form of varieties of this consciousness. And therefore, at that time, when a new consciousness arises and an object of consciousness is there, part or anything, at that time, an error is committed by the person that there is an external object called part. And they give an example of a dream. Okay, so this is a difference. So Advaitin says there is an external world and well, it can be known through the mind. Of course, pramana. That's basically pramana. So, pratyaksha, anumana, etc. So, the existence of the external world is proven by pramana. They say no, there is no external world. It is just a projection of the mind. You feel that there is external, but it is not, like a dream. And so the external world, and now we'll add one more thing. As I said, the external world is there, which is basically can be known through minds and senses. We also say projection, but what, external world and mind, both are projected upon the self, Atma. They say external world is projected by mind. We say external world and mind, both are projected upon the consciousness. That's the difference. Could you follow that? So they don't accept a independent existence of consciousness other than the mind. We say this both are projection on the self. They say the external world is projected by the mind. We say external world and mind both are projected upon the self. But here the projection also is, we'll understand that, don't worry. And so this external world and mind both are projected upon the Atma. This Dvaitins and Vishishta Advaitins, both, they literally blame us. And they say these Advaitins basically considered the whole world as the projection of the mind, which is not correct. We never say that the external world is a projection of the mind. We never say. We say external world and the internal world, mind, etc., both are projected upon the self. Could you follow? So this is a difference between that. Anyway, and projection here means what? Projection means what? Generally, projection means a subjective world. Any projection is a subjective, right? Suppose if my mind is projecting on you something, that this person basically likes these classes, and then why he was not there yesterday. Suppose. Maybe he may not be liking this, that, etc. So all these things I am projecting. Projection generally is considered as a subjective. We call it as a pratibhasika satta. And so, these people, basically these Vishishtadvaitins and Dvaitins, all Madhvas, etc., they blame us. These Advaitins basically consider the external world as a projection of the mind. And if it is a projection of the mind, it becomes a Jiva Srushti. If external world is a projection of my mind, it becomes a Jiva Srushti. But we have never said the external world is a Jiva Srushti. We say external world is a Ishvara Srushti. Over. So their charge is totally baseless, without understanding word mithya properly. Mithya means projection. Like what? They say, they give an example. This Advaitins like an example of a rope snake very much. So like snake is projected upon rope, same way the world is projected upon the Brahman. And therefore, but who projects the snake? They ask. Who projects the snake on rope? Mind. Same way, their mind, they say the mind basically projects the external world, and that is how, they are wrong. And that is true. If we are like this, that mind is basically projecting the external world, then it is like a seeing a snake. But it is not true. We never say the external world is my projection. External world is if it is my projection or mind's projection, my mind's projection, it is a Jiva Srushti. It is unlike rope snake. We give an example, that's a different issue. It's a different issue. You cannot extend it to the infinite. You cannot basically compare all the aspects of a Drishtanta in a Dashtanta. Otherwise, we would not have given you Drishtanta. Why should you give a Drishtanta? So, in all aspects, it cannot be said. We give an example. So, same way here also, this world is a projection. For that, we give an example of a Rajju snake. But they consider it like that. Just as a snake is a projected of our own mind, so the external world also is a projection of our own mind. That is what Advaitins are saying. They are charging like this. Taking that, we give an example. Bhashyakara gives an example of a Rajju Sarpa, etc. Several in Bhashyam. And that is how they say. It's not true. And therefore, otherwise, I can go on and on. But basically, we accept Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti indicates there is a Ishwar Sushti. Yeah. Right? Anyway, if time permits, I will talk to you. But otherwise, let me go into the flow right now. So we accept a Vyavaharika Srushti called Ishvara Srushti. We don't just say Pratibhasika Srushti. And we don't. If it is that, then there are only two things: Pratibhasika reality and this Paramarthika reality. But that's not the case. We accept a Vyavaharika reality, which is a Ishvara Srushti. Yeah, dream world is a Pratibhasika. That's perfect. But the external world, this waking world, is a Vyavaharika Srushti. Sometimes, it happens, we have to clarify, in Mandukya Karika, it happened. It happened so that in Mandukya Karika, the Gaudapada ji said at one place, Chitta Spandanam eva idam grahya grahaka dvayam. Chitta Spandanam. Basically, this whole external creation is a Spandanam, is an oscillation of this Chittam alone. So then that is, such kind of statements, make them to think that basically, this Vedantis also say that the external world is a projection of the mind, etc. That's not true. Um, um, we say it is Adhyaropa, of course, but well, it is on the Atma, mind and both are Adhyaropa on the Atma. But so they say, Yogachara people say there is no external world other than the mind. We say external world and mind are different, right? Since it is not a projection of the mind. See, the snake on the rope is not separate from just my thought. Snake is in the form of thought. There is no external snake at all. Could you follow that? And therefore, same way, Buddhas say that, Vijnanavadi says, there is no external world other than this momentary consciousness. We say there is an external world and the mind which can know it. Both are different. Mind and the senses are means of knowledge, and there is external world also. The external world and internal world, or varieties of the thoughts, cognitions, they are different. They say that is one thing alone, like in dream. That's a big difference. External world and cognitions are different. Mind and external world are different. Okay, that's better. Mind and external world are different. They say mind and external world is one thing alone. There is no external world other than the mind, like in dream. That's what they say. And in fact, Acharya said in Dakshinamurti Stotram, Vishram Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nija Antargatam. So Nija. So the whole world is within. Within what? So there Acharya gave an example of a darpana, mirror. Like a mirror you have kept it outside, in the balcony. Here nobody keeps, but I'm saying in India, they keep in the balcony they keep a mirror, and then there will be a basin, etc., where people morning do, brushing the teeth, etc. Well, anyway, so in that mirror you can see the roads and everything, the buses and everything, the people coming, and a whole thing you see in that. So Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari. Darpana Drishyamana Nagari. This whole world is like a world which appears in that mirror. Same way this world, that world is okay. But this world is what? So this world is also Nija Antargatam, is within Nija, is within the, not mind, is within Atma. Is within Atma, okay? So it's within Atma. Like the snake is basically is within the rope. Same with the whole world is projected in the Atma, through Maya, of course. So there Nijam means, well, in one's own self, means they have taken as a mind, but it's not so. And in a Kaivalya also, Mayeva Sakalam Jatam, Mayi Sarvam Pratishthitam, etc., etc. So basically, Mayi Sarvam Layam Yati, Tad Brahma Advayam Asmi, etc. The whole world is born of me and sustained by me, resolves into me. But that is not in the mind, and therefore the whole world is not basically non-separate from the mind. Including mind, everything is a part of creation, and everything resolves into consciousness. That is what Tad Brahma Advayam Asmi. So the whole world resolves into consciousness, Brahman. Not whole world resolves into mind. If it resolves into mind, it is basically is a projection of the mind. What is projected by the mind resolves into mind. Simple. If a snake is projected by the mind on the rope, snake resolves into mind ultimately, seeing the rope. And therefore, if it is a projection of the mind, it will resolve in the mind. But we definitely say whole world resolves into Brahman. So it is projection on the Brahman or Atma, basically. So we accept mind and external world independent of each other. Mind is a subtle body, of course, and the external world, well, and mind, etc., is a means. External world is a object of knowledge. Well, so the whole world is experienced by the mind is correct. we have to see some more arguments. We'll see uh, day after tomorrow. So, Kshanika Vijnanam is mind. Nitya Vijnanam is Brahman. Kshanika Vijnanam is a mind. Nitya Vijnanam is a Brahman on which even mind is projected. And therefore, it's a Yogachara and Advaitins. They are poles apart. And so we will have to prove. We have not proven actually. We have to prove that there is external world other than mind. So we have not entered into the argument. I am just giving you an introduction of this Adhikaranam. Actually, we have not proven. So through Pramanas, we have to prove that there is external world. Its ontological status, its metaphysical status is a different issue. I am talking about right now epistemology, Pramana Shastra, Pramana Vichara is there. Whether there is external world or not. And so we have, thereby we are refuting also Yogacharas and Madhyamikas also, because they say everything is Shunyam, etc., etc. So they all both will be taken care of by this. Oh, and then also other people also, naturally, because whoever says that, there is an external world, real external world called Nayayikas, etc., will be taken care of also. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.